In today's session for leadership, management, and governance, we are looking at supervision. So we go straight to the question for supervision. The question that we're looking at reads, in managing the ward affairs, the ward in charge acts as a supervisor to their subordinates. A. Explain 5 activities that you are expected to carry out as you man the affairs of the ward. B. Outline 10 skills and traits of a good supervisor. Question C. State 5 factors that should be avoided by a supervisor. Then question D. Discuss 5 responsibilities of a supervisor to the organization and 5 to the individual or the subordinates. So we go straight to question A. 5 activities that you're expected to carry out as you man the affairs of the ward. The first one is staff management. On staff management, this is where the supervisor assign duties, they schedule shifts, and oversee the performance of nursing staff to ensure the efficient and effective patient care. So that is what is done on staff management as one of the activities. The other activity is patient care coordination. So on patient care coordination, this is where now you as a supervisor, you ensure that patients receive appropriate care by coordinating with medical staff, monitoring the patient progress, and also addressing any concerns or issues that arises from the patient. Then the third one is resource allocation. The third activity we are talking about is resource allocation. And on resource allocation, this is where the manager manages the ward's resources such as the medical supplies, equipments, medications to ensure that there is adequate availability for the patient care in that particular ward. Then apart from that, the fourth one is quality assurance. So on quality assurance, this is where the supervisor now implements and monitors quality assurance measures to maintain the high standard of care, compliance with protocols, and also patient safety. So that is on quality assurance. That is one of the activities of the supervisor as they man the affairs of the ward. The fifth one is, of course, communication. And on communication, the supervisor facilitates communication between the staff members, the patients, families, and other healthcare providers to ensure smooth operation and continuity of care. So that is on question A on how on the 5 activities that you are going to carry out as you man the affairs of the ward. We go to the next question on the skills or traits of a good supervisor. The first trait or skill of a good supervisor is leadership. So leadership means the ability to inspire, motivate, and also guide team members towards achieving a common goal. The other skill is communication itself. And on communication, you find that where there is effective communication skills to convey instructions and provide feedback and address concerns, this makes the supervisor do their job effectively. The other skill is problem solving. So on problem solving, this is where the supervisor has capacity to identify issues, analyze situations, and develop solutions in a timely manner. The other one is decision making itself as a trait. So on decision making, this is where now the supervisor um, develops aptitude for making informed and also decisive decisions, considering all the various factors and potential outcomes. Then apart from that, of course, organization itself. And on organization, this is where the supervisor has a strong organizational skills to manage the tasks, prioritize responsibilities, also meet the deadlines. The other one, the sixth one, is empathy. And on empathy, this is where the supervisor has the ability to understand and emphasize with the needs and concerns of both the staff and also of the patient. They need to be empathetic in that manner. The seventh one is conflict resolution. The supervisor should have the skill of resolving conflicts and mediating disputes amongst team members in a fair and diplomatic manner. Of course, the other trait is adaptability. So when we talk about adaptability, this is where now the supervisor is flexible to adjust to changing circumstances and effectively manage the unexpected challenges. Then, of course, the next one is team building. On team building, this is where now the supervisor has capabilities to foster teamwork, collaboration, and also a positive work environment. Then, apart from that, the 10th one that we can talk about is ethical behavior as one of the traits. On ethical behavior, this is where the supervisor has commitment to upholding ethical standards, confidentiality, and professionalism in all interaction. So these are some of the skills or traits of a good supervisor. From there, we move on to the next question, question C. Question C, yes, which is saying state 5 factors that should be avoided by a supervisor. So 5 factors that should be avoided by a supervisor. One of it is micromanagement. So micromanagement, this is where the supervisor has excessive control or interference in the work of subordinates, which can lead to decreased morale as well as productivity. So as a supervisor, you don't need to have this micromanagement kind of authority or supervision, because you end up now controlling everyone, and everyone will not do their job to their abilities, but they will do it to your abilities because you are almost controlling every little aspect. But as a supervisor, you act as more of the overall control measure to achieve the objective, of course. The other factor is favoritism. And on favoritism, this is where, as a supervisor, you show bias or preferential treatment towards certain employees, which can breed resentment. At the same time, it can also undermine the team cohesion. So, as a supervisor, you are not supposed to have favorites with the subordinates that you have. The other one is lack of communication. With lack of communication, this is where there is failure to communicate effectively with the staff, leading to misunderstandings, confusion, at the same time also decrease the morale. Then the fourth one is ignoring feedback. This is one of the factors that should be avoided by the supervisor. So the supervisor, on ignoring feedback, this is where the supervisor disregards feedback from subordinates or failing to solicit input from team members, which can hinder problem solving and innovation. Of course, the fifth one that we can talk about is poor time management. So, as a supervisor, where you have inadequate prioritization of tasks, this can lead to missed deadlines, inefficiencies, as well as decreased productivity. So, as a supervisor, you need to have good time management and not poor time management. And from there, we can move on to the last question, which is saying discuss 5 responsibilities of a supervisor to the organization and 5 to the individual. So, responsibilities to the organization include goal achievement. So on goal achievement, this is where you ensure that departmental or organizational goals are met through effective planning, coordination, as well as supervision of staff. The other responsibility is resource management. So on resource management, this is where there is proper allocation and utilization of resources, including personnel, budget, equipment itself, and supplies to support organization objectives. So you manage all these resources. The other responsibility is compliance. And on compliance, this is where you ensure that there is adherence to organizational policies, procedures, regulations, and also standards to maintain legal and ethical integrity. Then the other responsibility is performance evaluation. So on performance evaluation, this is where you now conduct performance evaluation, providing feedback and addressing performance issues to maintain high standards of productivity and quality. And of course, the fifth responsibility to the organization is problem solving. As a supervisor, you are expected to identify operational challenges, analyze the root causes of problems, implement solutions to enhance efficiency, at the same time also to enhance the overall performance in that particular organization. Then when we talk of responsibilities to individuals or subordinates, the first one is support and guidance. On support and guidance, as a supervisor, you provide guidance, support, and mentorship to facilitate professional growth, skill development, and also career advancement. Then the second one is recognition and feedback. So to the subordinate, as a supervisor, you're expected to recognize and acknowledge individual contributions, providing constructive feedback, at the same time also fostering a positive work environment. Then the third responsibility is fair treatment. So on fair treatment, this is why you ensure fairness as well as equity in the distribution of the workload, assignments to subordinates, reward, and opportunities for professional development. The other responsibility is conflict resolution. And on conflict resolution, as a supervisor, you address conflicts, grievances, and interpersonal issues among team members in a fair, impartial, and timely manner. Then, of course, the fifth one is advocacy. So, with advocacy, this is where, as a supervisor, you advocate for the needs, concerns, as well as the well being of subordinates within the organization, including advocating for appropriate resources, training, as well as support. So, all these traits or responsibilities are for the individual or the subordinates themselves from the supervisor. So that is how we can attempt this particular question. Till next time, goodbye.